Hi everyone, welcome to this chat on how to sell more plants with Hilton and Tracy from Grow.
This is a great topic and an easy topic to talk about, and certainly a topic that gets the attention of garden centre owners. How do I sell more plants? Now, of course, this is following on from the podcast that we did last month on planning for a successful financial year ahead. And within that podcast, we talked about identifying the goals of where the business wanted to move to and the strategies in how to move the business towards achieving those goals. So the first thing that we talked about was, where are we? Where do we need to be? How do we get there? This is... there's been a really good response to that, and there were lots of the free business plan templates downloaded, and we've worked with a couple of stores to help them to work through the business plan and to set those goals and those strategies for this coming year. There was a couple of things that we identified from the business plan that really needed to be focused on this year to have a year that was successful and moving in the direction that we wanted to be moving in. One of those was the need to control wages, and we all know that wages have gone up again this year, so that's going to be a further focus for this year, how to control wages. And there's really only two ways that you can control wages. You can pay less wages, so that means less people or less hours being worked, and that needs to be done without seeing a decrease in sales, and that will improve the wage percentage. The other way is to increase sales without paying additional wages, and that's what we're going to touch on today. And if you sell more plants, there will be obviously additional sales, and as long as you don't increase your wage costs, then we will see that percentage start to fall. So there's a number of things that we'll just touch on during this conversation, and there's some of those things that are a topic on their own, and we'll come back in future months and revisit those. But I think the first one that we actually want to touch on is the layout of the garden centre and the importance of signage in the garden centre. So I'm going to let Tracy talk about the importance of the layout and the difference that signage will make in increasing the average sale.
So when we visit a garden centre, we have about a 200-point checklist that we go through, and a lot of that is concentrating on the customer flow and the merchandising. Now, the goal is to have customers pass as much product as possible. So that's what the customer flow is. It is getting the customers through the front door and on a journey, passing as much product as you can get them to pass, because if they don't see it, there's no hope of selling it. So we want them to see as much product as we can get them to see. Now, if you think about your own store and go and ask yourself, okay, what percentage would customers see of our offer? And really, we'd be aiming for 80% would be a good figure to aim for. So have a check, have a look at your garden centre and see, people would see about 80% of the offer. Now, once you've got that flow right, getting product in the right position, getting them in those hot spots is a great way to increase average sale. Having trolleys and baskets in the right location. People are used to getting a trolley at a supermarket before they start shopping, but that doesn't seem to be the case in a garden centre. They seem to start shopping and then go, oh, okay, I need a trolley, I can't carry all of this. So having trolleys, it may be in more than one place, so that you give them options. If they haven't grabbed one at the start of the journey, make sure there's some trolleys a bit further into the journey so they can grab a trolley. Have the staff trained to watch for people. If they look like they're seriously shopping, get them a trolley, because that is really going to increase your average sale. Now, we also talk a lot about merchandising. And merchandising really is just putting the stock out for people to see. But what we say is make that stock visible, make it appealing, and make it shoppable. That's the 3 checkpoints. So the more visible the product is, the more they're going to see, the more they're going to buy. Visible, appealing. The more appealing that stock looks, the more likely it is to be sold as well. And shoppable. Now, this alters depending on what the product is, but for those items that tick over all the time, it should be really easy to shop. For big ticket items, they can be a little bit harder to shop because they're going to go and ask for help if they want a big pot or a big statue or a water feature or something like that. So with your merchandising, make it visible, make it appealing, make it shoppable. You've already got your customer flow with the track that's going to lead them on the best shopping journey. And then you finish off with signage. Signage sells product. We've been doing this for almost 40 years.
A long time.
And signage sells product. It really does. And we've experimented with this. Now we're narrowing down into the type of signage. How does that signage look? Is it a value sign? Is it telling the customer this is a good offer, this is good value? Or is product the hero and telling people all the features and benefits of buying that product? And then we go into end use. It's quite a big story, and like Hilton said, it's a topic that we will address separately because it's a big topic, but make it visible, make it appealing, make it shoppable, and get your signage on to tell customers why they should buy it, and it also doesn't tie up a sales staff.
And that is all really important stuff. And what we're looking for is, at the moment, everyone's looking for immediate results. It's not a thing of put it down on your business plan and hope that it happens. What we need to see is immediate results happening within the garden centres. So the figures that we're getting through to the end of the last financial year, we saw an increase in the average sale. We saw an increase in the average item value. And all of that sounds really good, but both of those things happened because things have gone up. So plants that used to be sold for $14, maybe now $18. Everything has gone up, and that's why that average sale has gone up, and that is why the average item value has gone up. The bad news is that we're seeing about a 9% reduction in the number of customers that are coming into the store or the number of sales that are happening. So what that is telling us, less people are coming into the store. They're paying a little bit more for what they are buying. When you add all of that together at the end of the year, it ends up being a result that was not as high as last year. And that's something that we haven't been used to. And people are finding the pressures of that in all sorts of areas of the business, but particularly expenses. So expenses, it really doesn't matter how much you're putting through the register, the expenses don't change very much. So you may be putting through $1 million or you may be putting $2 million through. Your power charges are not going to change a lot. Your computer charges are not going to change a lot. Your rates are not going to change. Your rent's not going to change that much. All of these things don't change whatever the amount of sales are going through. So with the reduction in sales, all of a sudden everyone's expenses are looking high, particularly wages, and we really do need to see that turnaround. So in the year ahead, in the planning on business plans, as we're working with our clients to project results for the year ahead, we are once again aiming for a moderate sales increase of 5%. So the year that it's just been finished, we're looking at a 5% increase on that. So to put that into perspective, that's 5 cents for every dollar that goes through the cash register, and that's what we're looking for. So certainly the layout of the garden centre is going to help to achieve this. The great signage, the great merchandising is going to help to achieve this. And there are another couple of other things that will make a huge difference. And the trolleys and baskets, to get a trolley and a basket in people's hands makes a huge difference. And it should be part of what your team are trained to do. If there's someone there with a number of plants in their hand, get a trolley to them. A good example of how this works was we were in South Australia a few years ago, and I was just in a garden centre taking some photos, and there was a lady there in a white dress that had picked up a couple of pod colour, and she was holding them away from her dress. She didn't want the water that was running out the bottom of them to make her dress dirty, and I couldn't help myself. I grabbed the trolley and took the trolley over to her and said, "Here, you'll need this trolley." And she said, "Oh, thank you so much." So she put the plants on there, and then I just watched what happened after that. And she went back over to the potted colour, and she almost filled that trolley with potted colour, and then she grabbed another few things. When the trolley was almost full, I went and grabbed the trolley, and I said, "I'll take this to the counter. I'll grab another trolley for you." So I got another trolley, and she partly filled that second trolley, and then I just sort of wanted to follow it through, went to the checkout to see what the actual sale ended up at. So it ended up being a sale that was just a tad under $300, but she was going to the counter with only 2 potted colour first up, and the difference in getting a trolley in her hand increased that to almost a $300 sale. So that is the sort of thing that can happen when you get a trolley and when you get a basket in the hands of the customers. So really important, and she was very grateful for it. It wasn't like she was sort of saying, "Well, you've caused me to buy more." It just made it a lot easier to buy what she wanted. We want to really focus today on add-on sales, and it's been a very interesting past few years, and we talked a lot about add-on sales plus the layout of the garden centre, plus the merchandising, the importance of signage, all of that we used to talk about all the time pre-COVID. And then COVID happened, and really if you could get the plant, you knew that you could sell it. You didn't have to worry too much about fancy merchandising. You didn't have to worry about getting a sign up. If you got it in, most of the time it was selling from the trolley. So those principles that we instilled into the business as good business principles for increasing sales were forgotten about during that time. Now, of course, COVID has passed, and we're in a completely different time, and we actually need to revisit the importance of getting those add-on sales. And the thing to keep remembering is that we're just looking for 5 cents on every dollar, and that will give us a 5% increase for the total year. We were at a garden centre a few weeks ago now, and we did staff training with the team at this garden centre, and we talked about the importance of that add-on sale. Now, the best people for getting add-on sales are the owners, because they know that they have got the bills coming that have to be paid at the end of the month. They know that things are tight. They know that those sales have to get up there, and they don't want to be watering those plants. They want them planted in someone's garden, pot or balcony, or wherever the plant ends up. They just don't want it in the garden centre. So they tend to be really good at just offering that little bit extra. Now, staff get paid the same amount whether they sell something or they don't sell something. Their paycheck is the same. It's a little bit uncomfortable to move into that mode of selling stock for some people. Some people absolutely love it, but for some people it's uncomfortable. During the staff meeting that we had with the store, we talked about the importance of just getting that 5 cents extra and the difference that that was going to make for the business. And it wasn't so that the owner could go out and buy a new jet. What it was all about was keeping those wages under control, allowing the business to operate and to grow, or if the staff can get this right, their job is a lot more secure, it's a lot more rewarding, and they're working towards achieving the goals of the business plan. And once the staff actually understood that, they were actually cool with it. And we talked about identifying certain products that they really believe in that they could recommend for each sale that happened. And that could be Seasol, or it could be Powergrow, or could be whatever that particular staff member has had great results in and believe in. And it's a lot easier to sell something that you really believe in. The other thing to think of is the convenience of making sure that the customer has got everything that they need to finish their project. Now, I remember a few years ago I was working on a little fix-up task at home, and I can't actually remember what it was. Let's say it was replacing a tap. So I headed down to the hardware store, and I liked going to the hardware store, the smaller hardware store, where someone could give me advice and tell me what I needed to do. So anyway, we went through the process, and like I said, let's make out it's a tap. Can't remember what it was. Anyway, so I got the tap and whatever I needed to do that, and got home and realised that I didn't have a key part of the fix-it job, and wasn't able to do it without it. So let's say that was thread tape that I needed to put the tap on. I was too embarrassed to go back to the same shop because I thought, well, this guy's going to think I'm an idiot that I've set into this task to fix this, and I didn't have all the equipment. So I ended up driving a bit further, going to another shop just to get the thread tape. Now, if the guy had said to me, now, if you need, you probably need thread tape for that, I would have said, yep, thank you for that. And it really is a thing of, okay, that would have been an add-on sale for him, but it would have been convenient for me to have everything that I needed to finish the project. It would make sense that if a customer's come into the garden centre and they bought a pot for either side of their doorway, and they bought a couple of plants to go in those pots, it would make sense that they probably need potting mix. So to offer potting mix, to say, hey, do you need potting mix for that, is probably going to be the right thing for them. And if they didn't have enough potting mix or had no potting mix, they would get home and wouldn't be able to finish the project. So it's not just a hard sell thing, it really is a convenience thing to make sure that the customer's got everything that they need to finish their task. In one of the garden centres that we had in Tasmania, we had someone that was really good at this, and we had quite a low average sale, and I knew that I had to increase the average sale by about $5. So we had a staff meeting and we talked about a product that we had there called Plant Starter, which sold for $9.95. And we sold quite a bit of Plant Starter, and it was a growth hormone stimulant. You put it on the plants to cut back on transplant shock. We used to use the thing, you plant out your lettuces, there's none of that laying down, they stand up straight away, your lettuces will be ready at least a week earlier than if you don't use it. And it really was quite a good product and quite an easy product to sell. Anyway, we sort of had the thing, okay, let's make that our hero product. So we had a guy on the team that was a really good salesperson, and he would be wandering in with a customer, and he'd just pick up a bottle of this Plant Starter and he'd say, oh, you're going to need this. And most of them said, oh, okay, why? And he'd explain why. And they say, oh, yeah, fine, okay. The only time that I ever saw him get knocked back on someone said, no, I don't need that, was because he'd sold them the same thing a couple of days before, or they were already converted and they had some sitting in their cupboard or in their gardening shed and they were using it anyway. That one product was enough to get us the sales increase that we were looking for. And we ended up, of that one product, we were selling we were selling twice the amount through our store that the rest of the state was selling, all put together. So it really was a great product, a product that we believed in, but it was a product that helped us to lift the average sale and made a huge difference over the year to our business. The great thing about increasing the sales, particularly as a team, is that you are working towards achieving that really important thing for the business, but everyone tends to get excited about it. The garden centre that I was talking about earlier, where we had the staff meeting, I gave them a few days after we got back, and I gave the owner of the store a call. And I said, how's the increasing of the sales going? And he said, I think it's going really well. He said, I worked on Sunday and I just took notice of the add-on sales. We had a little bit of a pet talk before the day started and talked about the importance of add-on sales. And he said at the end of the day, I tallied up, I was sort of watching throughout the day, and I reckon that increased our sales for that day by $500. Now, it's a big garden centre, but still $500 was a good percentage increase on what they would have achieved on that day without the sales add-ons. So, working fantastically. And he said the team are now really getting behind it. And he said as he walks through the garden centre, he's hearing the add-on sales happen. So it'd be great. Hopefully, as we're talking about this, there's some hero products that are coming into your mind that you can get your team excited about, and that they can start to use that as a tool for add-on sales. Have you got anything to add to the add-on sales?
So the story that comes to mind for me is when we were in Western Australia managing a chain of stores. We had a similar product to Plant Starter, and I was in charge of merchandising for these stores. So I went to every store, got the product merchandised near the checkout, great signage on it, went around every store, trained the staff, said, this is the add-on sale item that you've got for this weekend. And Hilton was sitting in head office with all the monitors monitoring the sales of each store. And he phoned me up and he said, this particular store, he said, everyone's really selling this product apart from what's one store, what's going on. So I actually jumped in the car. It was about an hour's drive, drove out there to see what was happening. Some staff member had decided to move the product. They took the signage down, they moved the product, didn't put the signage back on the product, and the sales for that product just didn't happen on that Saturday. Every other store that was monitored had great sales. So the positioning of that product, the staff trained to sell that product, was the difference between the 5 cents in the dollar. We did fix that. We did fix the issue.
Yeah, and on that particular story, as Tracy said, I was sitting back and I had the sales happening in front of me from the all the stores, and the moment, I saw the sales start. So all of a sudden, we'd had this product advertised in the Western Australian newspaper, and we'd done some other promotion of it, and that's why it's so important that it worked. And I saw on the screen the moment that was put right. The sales started at that store. Now, obviously, they finished the day and the week well behind the other stores because they missed out on most of a Saturday on it. But that was really the importance of the signage, the merchandising, and the staff on selling that product. So that's a great example of it. As I said earlier, the average sale has increased with the increasing prices. The average item value has gone up, but there's a reduction in the number of customers that are coming into the store. So what we've talked about today, if put into place, and if the staff are worded up and keyed up about it, will have an immediate effect on sales. You're going to see a sales increase from that. The other things that we talked about, the layout, the signage, the baskets, all of that will also have an effect, but the add-on sales will have an instant effect as soon as you start to do it. But of course, these are customers, you're only selling to customers that have come into the store. And as was identified, the number of customers that are coming into the store has been reduced. That's down on the previous year. So what we're going to talk about next time is the effect of internal marketing and external marketing, and how you can attract the attention of those who are not your customers, and how you can stimulate activity from those who are your customers. We hope that you've got something good from today's session. We hope that you're able to put that into place and that you're able to see a result in the success of your business because of what we've talked about today. If you've got any questions about anything today, about the business plan from last time, feel free to contact us at Grow Networking, and we're more than happy to talk with you and help you to have your business as successful as it can be.